So I just bought the cheapest and least expensive, lowest price Ram Rebel on the market within a 250-mile radius of where I live. This is a 2016. It's got the 5.7 liter Hemi, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to show you all the reasons why it was the cheapest. So let's get into that and we'll introduce you to this new Ram Rebel. New to me. So the reason we got this was so that we could start towing a little bit more than we were able to with my 99 Gen 2 Ram 1500. That truck did me well. I owned that truck for over 16 years. But this particular one was the lowest price within 250 miles of where I live. And there's several reasons for that. Well, first of all, I've had my eye on a Ram Rebel ever since 2015, actually probably 2014 when they first announced that they were going to be making these. This is the answer to the Ford Raptor. One of the reasons that I wanted the Ram Rebel, I've owned a Ram. Back in the day it was a Dodge, the Mopar version of the truck. I've owned that for a long time. I've become a pretty good fan. I like the features. It's comfortable. It's what I'm familiar with. I know that I can work on them. One of the things that the Raptor has is these big, wide, bubbly, they look like off-road fenders, like fender flares. I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer the more sleek look. If you look down, this truck doesn't have those big puffy fender flares, bubbles. They just kind of look silly to me, but to each their own. But that's one of the things that attracted me to this. But I've had, like I said, I had my eye on these for a long time. I've had pictures of these on my screensaver, on my desktop, that sort of thing. And we had several camping trips coming up, and my old truck had 307,000 miles plus. And the engine was getting kind of tired. It was time to upgrade. I just kind of had a search going on a couple of the sites that we use here in Utah. KSL Classified, KSL Cars, that sort of thing. Can't get away from traffic even in the mountains. I'm at 9,000 feet, by the way, in Utah. Fish Lake is just up over that hill right there. If you've never been here, it's amazing, it's beautiful. It's August, mid-August, and I'm wearing a jacket. It just rained really hard for about 30 minutes and kind of cooled everything off. But so I'm wearing a jacket, sunshine, and it's starting to warm up a little bit. More rain coming right there though. So I had searches going on Facebook Marketplace and KSL Classifieds, and I was looking for a 2015, 2016, 2017 Ram Rebel. I had my price set to $42,000. So that was kind of the top end that I was willing to even consider or look at. And this popped up, and it was listed at $29,000, and it had 139,000 and some change miles on it. That was the first thing that made it lower priced. Here's the second thing, at least that I noticed right away. Yeah, not so much here or here, but right there. No airbag deploy or anything like that. It didn't hit the grill or the hood. Definitely noticeable. I noticed that in the pictures before I even went down to see it. We have moisture inside of this lens. That's going to eventually be a problem. So there's that as well. You know, a couple of little scratches and those type of things. You're going to notice stuff like that on trucks when you actually use them. And this was one of the other things that popped out to me right away. That gap right there. That's just going to get worse and worse until it finally just rips off. So I got to do something about that as well. I have plans for that. Also, notice the color difference between these two. So I have a solution for that as well. So be sure and subscribe and follow along. I'll be doing some videos on this truck and getting things back to factory or back to what I want it to look like. So not doing anything super crazy, but definitely want to touch those things up and bring those back around to black and shiny. Bumper, same thing. It's just a little bit faded, nothing crazy. There's our hitch. We do use sway bars. We want to be safe. Oh, this also has the trailer package, which was kind of cool. It's got the light setup for the 4-bar straight, or your typical, whatever the heck that thing's called, 8-prong claw hook plug thing, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. That with trailer brakes, and there's trailer brakes control on the dashboard. We can manually squeeze those or adjust them based on the weight of the trailer. Air ride suspension, right now it's in off-road because I came down that dirt road. Can we even see that? Oh yeah, there it is. That dirt road right there. It goes up, switch back, and goes up and meets up with the highway right up there. But off-road gives you the more clearance, more flex, that sort of thing, so that you can go over obstacles and whatnot. Probably nothing super crazy. I don't plan on doing much off-roading, but it gives me options. Layers, onion boy. But man, it's such a good looking truck. I love it. All right, sun is disappearing. Those clouds are coming here pretty quick. It's got tow hooks in the front, fog lights, daytime runners, as well as just your normal headlights, brights, turn signals, all that kind of stuff. It took me a minute to figure out that you push that to turn on your fog lights, even though it says push right there on the button. Genius. I do like the snorkel hood. They're sealed, so it's literally just for looks. But I'll bet if I supercharged this, I could open those up and actually use that ram air for something awesome. Another thing that we weren't super excited about was the tint of the windows, the current tint. They had almost blackout tint on all 4 of the windows. Driver's side, passenger side, front and back. They were all the same tint, and it was really dark. When the sun started going down, it was really hard to see outside, see the mirrors, and people could sneak up in our blind spot super easy. And backing up, I'd have to roll the window down just to be able to see out the mirror. I got that fixed. I paid a tint company to remove and professionally install the new tint. I wanted to make sure it was done right and going to last a really long time. Not do that bubble up like you see on some of these other vehicles where people try to do it themselves. Just wanted to make sure it's done right. There's a time and a place to DIY and do your own thing, but on something this expensive, I wanted to make sure it was done correctly and going to last the life of the truck. I like the side step bars. I don't know off the top of my head if that is standard equipment on this particular model or not. But Ram Rebel 2016, basically 140,000 miles now that we've put some miles on it. I've owned this for about 2 weeks. This is our second camping trip. Given myself a little time to acclimate to different features and whatnot. Power windows, power locks, power seats, heated steering wheel. The only thing it's missing, dual climate control. We wish it had that. I don't know if that's just an oversight on this or if there's another version of a Ram Rebel that has that. That, I do not know. When I showed up to test drive it, it became very apparent why this truck was priced the way it was. This truck had been owned by a heavy smoker. And, you know, in certain states that might be an acceptable thing. Here in the state of Utah, it's not socially accepted. I'm wording that as carefully as I possibly can. It's just not part of Utah culture. Smoking is just kind of frowned on here in general, and people will not buy furniture. They won't buy a vehicle, those type of things, a home even, that's been smoked in or been in a smoker's home even. It can be really challenging to get that smell out of a vehicle. So I'll be doing a video on how to fix that. It was an annoyance, but it also gave me some comfort in that's why it was priced the way it was. Not that something mechanical was wrong. When I did my inspection on this, I crawled up underneath. I looked the engine bay over kind of with a fine-tooth comb, looking for anything that was suspicious, any leaks, any new parts, anything like that that was a red flag. And this particular truck had none of those red flags that show, you know, undue wear, parts that have been replaced unnecessarily or because of something major going wrong, that sort of thing. So that gave me great comfort as well. But if you want to see a video on how to get rid of the smoke smell in a vehicle, be sure and click like. Well, you're going to click like anyway, because why wouldn't you? That was weird. It just went down and back up again. Something with the air ride suspension is, I don't know if it's wrong. I don't know if that's normal. The truck's turned off and it's parked, and sometimes it just lowers and raises the back end. Let me know if that happens on your Ram Rebel. Maybe that's normal. I don't know. But anyway, if you subscribe and click the little bell notification thing, you'll get notified when I post the video on how to get rid of the smell of smoke in a vehicle. It's easier than you think, and it only takes, well, it takes a little while because it's time, but it's cheap. It's real cheap. So anyway, you'll see that in a future video. One of the other things that I've noticed now that I've driven this truck for a little while, I've put about 1,200 miles total on it, and we've towed with it, is the mirrors. The mirrors are not, well, they're not like HD mirrors. They're not tow mirrors. They don't pop up or whatever. But I just can't see past my trailer. I can't see back behind me what's going on very well. So I'm going to be putting the little convex mirrors so that you can see, like the bubble, so you can see blind spots, that sort of thing. That will really help on this truck, eliminating those blind spots. We can kind of see out pretty good. I'm getting better. I'm getting more used to it. Having that longer door with the quad cab is different than having the little half door that I had in my 99 Ram. So it's just a little bit different, takes some getting used to. But this is Troy with DIY Home and Auto. While we're out here in the beautiful Utah wilderness, I'm going to take some beauty shots, some B-roll, whatever you want to call it, up against some different backdrops so that you can kind of get a feel for the truck in its natural habitat, as it were. But I appreciate you guys watching, following along. Please subscribe, click like if you feel like I've deserved it. Really appreciate that. Also, there will be links down below to different playlists and that sort of thing for some of the other, like, flagship videos that I'm doing right now. Working on some old trucks, stuff like that. So if you're into that sort of thing, I would appreciate you following along, and we'll see you guys in the next video. If you want to see video on how to remove the smoking smell, got cars, and it's starting to rain. It's throwing me off my groove.